Oi, oi, vibes here.
I'm DJ Macca.
This is Paul Louise.
Hi, my name's Robbie Edwards.
My name's MC Hurricane. I'm DJ Reverend.
Hey, this is Mark Simon.
I'm John Edge.
MC Lloyd Wheel.
Reggie Sarah.
Stevie Wonder.
Hi, this is Bob K.
I'm Les Calvert. I'm DJ City T.
Yes, this is the JFMC. You're listening to the
Couture 303 podcast
with J Viper, baby.
Welcome back, everyone, to a very different episode of the Couture 303 podcast with me, J Viper. And how this one came about, my good friend Dave Jenkins thought it would be a good idea to interview me. Wasn't exactly sold on the idea to start off with, but we'll see how we get on anyway. So I'm going to hand it over to my good friend Dave Jenkins.
You all right, mate? Hello, everyone.
I'm a little bit nervous, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so completely blown away by your show, mate, by your podcast. So I've become a bit of a fan, to be honest, although we go back a long way.
Me too, yeah.
It's strange listening to the podcasts and sort of like, I can sort of separate myself as if like I'm listening to like, I don't know, like Joe Rogan or you know, it's and because it's something that I've got interest in, you know, and something I can relate to. It's like I've felt attached to it. I'll be honest, I haven't listened to them all, but I've listened to like most of them. And obviously I've had a couple of mentions as well on some of them, haven't I?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I just thought, well, you've got a story to tell. You know, you've got a good story to tell, not just with DJing, but with life, because you're one of the most random people I've ever met. You know what I mean? So yeah, I just thought, well, you know, I'll give it a go with interviewing you.
Okay, let's see how we get on.
So,
I won't judge you.
I've only ever done like corporate interviews. This is my first sort of like, you know, clubland interview. So, all right, well, we'll start with how you start then, okay? So, where were you born?
I'm born and bred in Liverpool. Born in 1975, 48 now. Very, very small family. So, if you look at like my family tree, I'm a single child to a single child only parent. So if you take that into context, I've got no brothers, no sisters, no aunties, no uncles, no cousins.
Wow.
So if you let that sink in, it is a really small family. It's just me and my mum, and my mum's parents, my nan and granddad. My granddad passed away when I was 13. My nan passed away when I think I was 19 or 20, there or thereabouts. So my granddad was the only real father figure I ever had in my life. And he was a big influence in my life and still is. I've got his name tattooed on my leg, actually. I said this on Instagram last week. He's the only man I've ever loved. Obviously, I've never had a father figure. No older brothers, no uncles, no special uncles, no pocket money in the bath and all that shit. So my granddad was the only father figure I ever had. And I look back quite fondly when I was a kid, going to my granddad's every weekend, and he'd be showing me music, because he was the first person I knew to have a CD player. So he was passionate about music then, and obviously I look back now and I think maybe that's sort of sculptured the way I am today as a DJ. As I'm sure you know, one of the passionate things about being a DJ is sharing music with other people. Listen to this one. And when you're a DJ, you're doing it on a bigger scale. You're doing it to strangers, but on a more personal and private level. That's what my granddad did with me. He'd sit me down. I remember he got the Whitney Houston CD. We're going back to like fucking late 80s here. He was the first person I ever knew to have a CD player. And he put this CD on and he'd be, shh, listen to this, shh. And he'd be hushing you, and he'd sit there and he'd close his eyes and he'd get lost in the music. And I'm looking at him like, a bit fucking hell. But as you get older and you get into music yourself, you realise it's a fucking, you know, it's the closest thing we've got to magic, innit? You know, music's incredible.
Yeah.
And obviously my mum was a massive music fan as well. So I grew up on music. Harking back to how I do my podcast, you know, preempting your next question, if you like, that I think I've grew up with music in my blood, you know. The Wireless was always on when we were kids, Billy Butler and all that kind of stuff. And my mum always had music on. My mum was into like glam rock, like fucking Slade and Gary Glitter and Sweet and stuff like that. And that developed me into like the kind of rock side of things. So obviously I became a bit of a fan of rock music then. AC/DC and Guns N' Roses was coming out when I was younger. And obviously my granddad was into like quite diverse. So he was into like Whitney Houston, but he liked a bit of Elvis. He liked a bit of this, liked a bit of that. Introduced me to a guy called Joe Longthorne. He was a bit of a cabaret fucking act in the 80s and early 90s, and went to see him a few times. Fantastic singer, great in impressions, and it was just the whole round entertainment thing. I've always been kind of interested in entertainment. It's something, you know, I was never a sporty person. So music and gadgets and stuff. Again, my granddad was into gadgets. He used to make model planes and stuff. Quite ironic, actually. I'm fucking waffling on here, like, but quite ironic. Quite ironic.
You just answered about 20 of my questions there. I've only got 2 left.
Sorry, Dave. So my granddad was a plane fanatic. He was bang into planes. And of course, me and you, when we worked together, we worked in a factory that made parts for airplanes. Yeah. Fast forward, you know, or rewind, to 10 years ago, we got made redundant, and I went and moved to a factory that makes cars. Yeah. And the ironic thing was, my granddad used to make these models, like the the Airfix models and stuff like that. He didn't like the Airfix ones. They were good. He used to get like the Chinese and Japanese ones, and he'd paint them all intricately and all stuff. The last model he ever made was a car, and it was a Jaguar. How mad's that? It's just fucking weird how things work out. Like, you know, obviously he didn't get to see me become an adult. He certainly didn't get to see me become a DJ, but he also didn't know that I worked in 2 of the industries, which he would have been fucking really made up with. So, you know, going on about my granddad quite a bit, but he was quite a prominent figure in my life, even though he was only with me for 13 years. Yeah. I still think of him quite fondly now. It was his birthday the day after mine. Just the Monday just gone, and you know, I sat here and I was putting my show together, and I put a little post on Instagram, I had, you know, a few little tears and all that, just thinking about it, because he was a huge influence in my life, and of course my mum is, you know, my mum brought me up on her own. Childhood for me was tough. It was tough in the 80s. My mum didn't really have much, and she did, you know, she did the best job she could on her own. And I went through different phases of my childhood of looking and thinking, you know, was my mum a bad mum? Was my mum this? Was my mum that? And as you get older and you start to mature and realise, fucking hell, my mum had it tough. You know what I mean? You know, the 80s was a fucking tough time. No one had any money. She had no partner.
You couldn't go out and get a loan. You couldn't go out and get, you know, an overdraft or nothing.
Mate, it was going
to fucking £12 pence and benefits and that.
Go in the shop with a note. You know, off your mark, and can you give us fucking a bag of spuds and 20 Benson? You know, till next Friday. You know, that's what it was like. It was fucking everyone was skint, and my mum did the best she could. You know, and it was tough. It was tough for her. It was tough for me. But it brings you up. I think with a different mindset. I think I appreciate life more now. I appreciate some of the stuff I've got. You know.
I remember Chris Rock saying something where he goes, "A part of me hates me kids." He was getting interviewed, and they were like, "Why do you hate your kids?" He said, "Because I grew up with nothing, and these little fuckers are spoiled."
Well, that's it. And as I got older and started having kids of my own, I was looking back at my childhood thinking, I never had any of this. You know, and I went through the stage of resentment. You know, looking towards me mum, like, you know, fucking hell, you know, you could have done better. And then again, like I say, you get older and you get wiser and you look back and you go, hang on a minute, it must have been fucking really tough for a single woman. Young, by the way, she was 17 when she got caught with me. I was only just 18 when I was born. She tells me the story that when she was in the hospital bed, in notes at the bottom of the bed still said 17, and they were going to take me away. And she was like, no, I'm 18. It was my birthday. My mum's birthday is the 2nd of May, and mine's the 7th. So she was in hospital. She went in when she was still 17, and they were going to take me away. And she was like, no, I'm 18. I've lost my train of thought now. But yeah, it must have been incredibly hard for a young single woman to bring up a kid with fucking no support in a fucking real shitty environment. We lived in these flats in Nerley. And fuck me, mate, you know, the lift. We were on the 6th floor. The lift stunk of fucking piss and all graffiti and all that. It was every times like. But I think
foundations as well, though, isn't it? I know it's heavy looking back, but you can also say it was laying the early bricks for what you've built now. You know what I mean? What you've got around you.
Well, I mean, I've said this conversation before. I've got another mate there, Lee Peters. I hope he doesn't mind me mentioning this. Lee was a similar situation to me, brought up with a single parent.
Yeah. I know Lee from A1 Entertainment, is it?
No, he from Netherley. He works in Jag himself, actually.
Right.
And me and Lee both had the perfect ingredients and excuse to become a scally, a tearaway, a fuck up. We had all the answers there. Oh, it's because I've got no dad. It's because I got brought up in a council estate in Netherley. Because we had no money. And we both turned out all right. So that just tells me that I've got choices in life. Wow. You know, and I think having the upbringing I've had from my mum, the one thing I will say is, you know, I've got fucking manners. I've got respect. I've never been arrested. Never been into trouble. Not a trouble causer. My mum's taught me good discipline and stuff like that. Did I do without stuff when I was younger? Yeah, I did. You know, but so did she. So did everybody back then. You know, it was fucking tough times. And I've got a fantastic relationship with my mum now. I see my mum all the time. But we separated for quite a while, a couple of years there. And in that period, like I say, I went through this little transition of, fucking hell, you know, I had nothing when I was growing up, blah, blah, blah. And then you wise up and go, fucking hell, you know, I know why I didn't have nothing, because she didn't have nothing either. You know what I mean? It was fucking heavy, like.
What, so like school-wise, did you just go to like one primary school, one second, or like did you go to...
So... We lived in Netherley, in Middle Marseille, in the flats in the high rise, if anyone knows that. And I went to Norman Panel, which was literally, you could see it outside my bedroom window. Yeah. One sec, mate. My battery's going to fucking die on my laptop here. One sec. Let me just put my charger in. This is so unprofessional. Oh my God, how unprofessional is that? We'll keep this in so people know I'm just a knobhead, the same as everyone else. So you could see my junior and primary school outside my fucking bedroom window. Obviously, we were 6 stories up, so it was a bit of a drop, like. But so went to Norman Panel, infants and junior, and was an average kid, you know. Fucking, I was always a bit of a joker, to be honest with you. Like I remember getting a certificate one day for humour.
Really?
Yeah, and this is the ironic thing is I didn't know what the word humour meant, so I gets home. I went, I've got this certificate. What for? I went humour, and my mum went, oh yeah. And I went, what does humour mean? I didn't know it meant being funny, but obviously I was a bit of a class clown. And my little lad now, he's 6. And he's the same as me. He's like a little fucking, you know, he's dancing around and performing and stuff. And I think that's, I think it's you know, I think in life you generally either sporty or you're creative. And you got people like yourself who've explored like the martial arts side of things, you know, and the fitness and a creative. But for most people, most normal people, not saying you're not normal, for most normal people, it's one or the other, innit? You go down one, and I've never been a sporty person. But I was always like a bit of a fucking, like the class clown, making people laugh. And I think because it didn't have much money and didn't have all the nice gear and all the nice clothes, that was my coping mechanism to get accepted. It stopped me getting bullied, if you like, because he's funny, you know what I mean? Leave him alone type thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, mate, no, I mean, one thing, like going back to when we first met, you've always had a, you know, really good personality. You've been open to new people. You're not like, oh, I don't know him. I don't know him. You know what I mean? If I ever brought someone new over to you, you know, you'd be like dead welcome, and you'd be like, oh, what are you into, mate? Oh yeah, I'm into that. You know, you're a kind spirit, mate.
I just think it's easy to be nice.
Yeah,
it really is. There's too many dickheads out there, and I don't understand it. Listen, if you treat me a certain way and I don't like it, I'll just give it a wide berth moving forward. Yeah, I wouldn't purposely be nasty towards you. Yeah. I mean, you know, I've had people be fucking nasty to me, of course. I'm fucking 48. You know, I've been around the block and all that. You get dickheads.
Yeah.
I just think, shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame. You know, you're obviously not happy in your life.
Yeah.
I'll let you go about your little way, and I'm happy with my life. Thanks very much. So you do you, and I'll do me. Thanks.
What main sort of I know you touched on it a little bit, but what main interest did you have as a child, sort of
Fucking
teenager?
hell, main.
Yeah.
I mean, me missus who I'm with now, Jenny, we've been together for well over 10 years now. She'll tell you this. I've had more hobbies than fucking Hugh Hefner's had fresh fanny. Tell you, mate. Listen, I mean, when I was a kid,
got that humour badge now.
when I was a kid, it was like I used to like drawing. I was again because we didn't have much money. You make use of what you've got. So I could get paper from school. I had pencils in my fucking pencil case, so drawing was an easy little thing. I got quite good at drawing. I used to draw like the likes of fucking RoboCop and the wrestlers and Rambo and all that kind of stuff. I drew a few of my mates as well. In fact, there was a girl that went to our school, Jane O'Malley, and we like a little group of friends, and she said, "Can you draw a picture of our so and so?" I went, yes, sound. So I drew this picture of this kid. This kid's probably about fucking 40 now, by the way. I drew a picture of this kid. He was about 3 or 4. And I signed it. And next time I went round, it was on the fucking wall. It was fucking made up, like in a little frame and all that. I was like, yeah.
You're messing.
So I was into drawing when I was a kid. I got into origami. A lad called, there was 2 lads in school, John Lansdowne and Ian Ellis introduced me to origami. And of course, you could go to the library back then. This was before the internet and all that. You could go to the library and get a book out. And I get this book and it'd tell you how to make fucking little boxes with pleats on and fucking flapping birds and all kinds of stuff. I got into origami as a kid and magic. He's like do not the drug, by the way. Like little conjuring magic tricks and stuff. Picked up a guitar one year. Didn't really take to that. What else? Aside the usual, you know, fucking karate and fucking boxing and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was always creative stuff. I like to.
You've never really been into footy, have you? Or like,
hate it. My granddad was an avid red. My granddad, it's not funny, like, but one of my granddad's first ever heart attacks was the fucking FA Cup final. I think it was 1987. Everton. It was a derby, and it was always remember it's the one where someone scored for Liverpool and knocks all the cameras at the back of the fucking net. Yeah, he had a heart attack that day, a fucking massive heart attack. It wasn't the one that killed him, like, but yeah, he was an avid red. And all my mates were growing up. Yeah. So fast forward to when I was a teenager, we had quite a large group of friends. So if I miss anyone out here, I apologise. There was Lee Connor, Rossi, Stacey, Wally, Casso, like 5 or 6 lads and a group of girls, and all the lads were all into football. Most of them are Reds, a couple of them are Blues. In fact, I stand corrected. 3 of them were Blues. Right. Stacey, Rossi and Connor were all Blues, and Lee Peters and Waller were both Reds. I think Casso was a Red as well, I'm not too sure. But yeah, they were all into football as well, and it just never interested me. It's just, I think I've watched maybe one whole football match in my entire life. It just doesn't interest me. And another thing, which is a bit weird, you said I'm random before, like, I've never drank a pint of lager in my life, mate.
Oh my God, Jay.
I'm like the epitome of the fucking lesbian trapped in a man's body. I don't like football. I never drank a pint of lager.
That's bizarre. Yeah. So I know you touched on music, mate, but what would you say? Like, I mean, for me, it was like my mum would let me stay up and watch Top of the Pops. I mean, one, but for you sounds like you had a lot of people around you with sort of like lots of different genres of music. So what would you say what music do you think sort of led you into where we are sort of now, or where you've been since the 90s?
Well, again, it's quite strange because apart from the first music that I actually liked was probably Michael Jackson. Right. I remember getting, I think it was Now 10, and it had The Way You Make Me Feel on, and I remember thinking, that's fucking sound, that, like. Yeah. But at the time, I also liked Mars, Pump Up the Volume, which I still like to this day, which I thought was a fantastic track. And then you had, this is like the early 80s, so you had the likes of Shaka Khan, I Feel For You, and then off the back of that, there was likes of the early Technotronic stuff.
Loved all that.
Yeah, and that kind of like, okay, I like this. And then I got more into like me rock and metal.
Yeah.
So that kind of got sidetracked then. And I started getting into AC/DC quite bigly. Quite bigly, is that a word? Bigly? Largely? No. Started getting into AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, and then branched off into like Metallica and Pantera, and later in life got into like heavier stuff like Slayer and Slipknot. But so the rock and metal thing was a big deal. And then when I was 17, I joined the army. I was in the army for 12 months. Don't ask.
I forgot about this.
Yeah, I was in the army for 12 months. When I left the army, a few of my mates had started going clubbing, and I started listening to tapes. You'd get a tape off your mate and you'd copy it or whatever. Yeah. And one of the first tapes I heard was the Drome, and it was MC Cyanide and DJ Dave Graham. And it was Tribal Church and Cyanide jumping around, don't mind you with ES. And I was like, wow, this is fucking boss, this, like. Yeah. And then obviously that was it then. Just started getting different tapes off my mates, started going to town, going to Groover, buying my own tapes. And then we used to go to Fallows and Speak, which is like more of a wine, Fallows 2, more of like a wine bar, but it was the first experience of having like loud music on, you know, in that environment. Yeah. I was like,
how old were you at this point?
I think I'd have been 18 or 19. Yeah. In fact, no, when we first started going to Fallows before I joined the army, so we were 17 and we were going to Fallows, and we lived in Netherley, and Fallows 2 was in Speak. Yeah. And we used to walk, like we were talking this today, like we'd walk home from Speak, and we were like fucking 17 years of age, about fucking 8 stone piss wet through, with a suit on and a tie, like as if like, look at me, I'm 20, with a fucking little coke stain, bum flush moustache and all that. Yeah, like a pure proper coke stain. And we'd go to Fallows. That was like when we were 17. Join the army, come out, and then it was after that. It was like I went to State for the first time. The first club I went to was the State with a few of my mates, but I wasn't a big fan of the State music, the piano type of stuff. It was all right, but I preferred the more energetic and bouncy stuff. Yeah. So November 1994, I went to Drome for the first time, and fucking hell, what can I say? I fucking loved it.
So how were you getting over there, mate? Because like for a young kid going over, you know, to the world, like. So,
I mean, it's hazy looking back. Yeah. We always had a lift off someone. My ex who was with at the time, who's the mother to me 3 older kids. Yeah. She drove, as did one of her mates. So if they were coming, we always had a car. Yeah. But I remember one situation. We were stood at I think we were going to get because we used to get the bus from town, from Netherley to town, which is the 79, which is about a 25-minute journey. And then I imagine we were going to get the train over to Conway Street Station. But we were stood at the bus stop by ours one day, and a local lad called Gary Smith, who was a butcher, pulls up in this fucking big transit butcher's van and went, "Where are you going?" And we went to Drome. He went, "Do you want a lift?" Go ahead, yeah. So we're all in the back of this fucking butcher's van, stacking of fucking mints and all that, yeah. Yeah, fucking hell.
My God. So timeline then. There's 2 timelines here. There's a timeline of you going out and experiencing nightlife. And then there's the timeline of you becoming a professional DJ. So how did that go from being like a clubber into being a DJ?
It both kind of come hand in hand, to be honest with you. Obviously, I like the music, I like the environment, I like the idea of sharing music. You know, I think if you like music, you've got a passion about sharing it with other people. And I can remember being going back a few years, my granddad bought me this a Walkman, and I got the Rocky IV soundtrack on tape. This is a true story, this. So if anyone's familiar with the Rocky IV soundtrack, the last one is called War by Vince DiCola. And it's the one that goes din 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 din, you know, the big fucking crescendo.
Yeah.
So I'd be lying there in my bed with my little fucking, with my Superman fucking quilt on, or the Hulk or whatever, or like that with my headphones in. And I used to like get the volume and just edge it down ever so much. Just quiet. And then when that bit come in, I go din 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 and kick it back in loud. And I remember I must have been fucking 10, 11, thinking, yeah, I'd be a fucking boss DJ, me. That was the first time I ever had that thing. And then obviously,
fucking hell.
Like everyone does,
yeah.
You're taping the charts and stuff, and you're pausing and recording, you know.
Yeah.
And a Stu Allen on a Saturday, Sunday night, you know, large. Oh, he spoke there, bastard, fucking hell.
Yeah,
So I had a little experience of that. And then obviously going out clubbing. See, I'm a bit of a fucking knob, me, right? I'll see something and I'll think, I reckon I could do that. And I mean anything. Dave, I've tried fucking acrylic nails. I've done acrylic nails. I've done acrylic nails.
Yeah.
I'll design a website. I'll put wooden floor down. I'll replace the shower. I'll fucking have a go at the light fitting. You know, I'll fucking make a track. I'll edit video. I'll do a Rubik's Cube. If I see something and think I can do it, I'll have a go. And if I'm no good at it, then it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I was in the Drome one day, and there was a DJ playing. I won't mention his name because it sounds like I'm like trying to take the piss out of him, but I was stood there and I was thinking, I think I could do that better than him.
Yeah.
I just thought if I was up there, I wouldn't be doing what he's doing. I'd be doing something. And even though I had no knowledge then, didn't know how to mix, didn't understand how turntables work or nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I thought, I wouldn't matter. So anyway, off the back of that, I started collecting records. So rather than going to town and going to Groover and 3 Beat and buying Helter Skelter tape packs and Drome tapes and 6 tapes, I'd go in and I'd buy a tune. And I started slowly but surely building this little collection of tracks. I even remember, I mentioned this on one of my shows on In Demand Radio today. One of the first tracks I ever got was Mrs. Woods Teaches Techno, which I swapped with my mate for a tape back, my mate Steeling. I thought it was a Helter Skelter tape back, but he corrected me today. It was a 6 live from Northern Ireland double tape pack, and I swapped them for this double-sided fucking double-piece vinyl. And it had We Choose to Go to the Moon on it, amongst others.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started collecting vinyl.
Yeah.
And then I think I'm going to say 20. And my nan passed away. And my mum said, listen, you know, your nan's left a bit of money. I'm going to give you some of it.
Yeah, I remember you touching on this with...
don't waste it.
Yeah.
And she gave me £1,000 and she said, what are you going to do with it? And I said, I'm going to buy decks. And she kind of went, oh, fucking hell. Here we fucking go again. Another guitar, another fucking karate suit, another fucking magic set, another fucking whatever.
I remember going into work, and every day I'd walk into work and I'd see the board, you know, where you can sell stuff. And every day they'd be like, you know, like Jay is selling this or Jay's
Jay's selling his latest hobby.
And it was always something that, it wasn't like, oh, you've bought a load of these and you're trying to make a few quid. It was like something you bought and that's and you're selling it on.
Yeah. Mate, you know what? And I had this conversation with Andy Tranter. You know Andy, don't you?
Yeah.
So, but fast forward a little bit now, but obviously I started DJing, then I had a break. And then I started DJing again, then I had a break. So the second break I had was quite a big break. I didn't
what
DJ.
Year are we at now, mate?
So when I first started DJ, it was like the late 90s. And I DJ'd, we'll get to that in a minute. So when I first started DJing, it was like my first ever gig was at Church Hall in Birkenhead. Yeah. And I had Technics 1210s. I was lucky enough that Technics 1210s were the only decks I ever had.
Yeah.
So that's all I was used to. So I turned up at this Church Hall with my bag of records.
Yeah.
I put my tune on. Like I always play fast, as I'm sure you know. So puts up to +8, press the start, and it went fucking Pro 150 sound labs, and the pitch is the other way around. So instead of being +8, it was fucking -8. I'm like, shit, fucking hell. Yeah, that was my first ever gig, that. So I DJ'd in the early 90s.
Yeah.
Handed a tape into the Drome. First ever tape I'd handed in. And got a message back saying, we want to book you.
That's amazing. Off one tape, yeah?
First ever tape I'd handed in. But the ironic thing was, where are we now? So before the Aquarium was the Aquarium, it was called Jack's Nightclub, JACKS, I think, or JAKS, ran by a fella called Jimmy Jack. Yeah. And there was a competition in the Echo, a DJ competition. Come down and play. Whoever plays best gets a residency. So I get me a little bag of tunes together and all that. Goes to this place. First time I'd ever played, done anything like that. Turns up at this club. Played. I thought I played okay.
Yeah.
This other lad next to me, a young mixed race lad called Craig, a bit younger than me, Craig, and he played dead well as well. So the fella who owned it, his son Richie was like running the promotions, if you like.
Yeah.
And Richie said, "Listen, you're both good, right?" He went, "The other lads were fucking shit. If you want it, you can have it, but you can share it." And we both kind of went, "Yeah, go ahead, yeah." Shook hands on it, and that was that. So his name was Vengeance, DJ Vengeance.
That rings a bell.
So me and Craig played together in what was the Aquarium, called Jack's Nightclub at the time. And then I think when it closed and got turned into the Aquarium, we stayed friends. So we did a tape, and the tape was called The Hardcore Hooligans. And one tape was one side was Viper and one side was Vengeance. So that's the tape I handed into the Drome, and they booked us. So we both got a booking out of it.
Yeah.
So my first ever advert in the Echo, my first ever chance of getting my name in the Echo on a Drome flyer said The Hardcore Hooligans, didn't say Viper at all. I was fucking wounded. But anyway, off the back of that, I ended up staying in the Drome till it closed. I think my first gig was when Princess Diana died. So I think it was the end of September or end of August, something like that.
Yeah.
And I stayed there pretty much every weekend till it closed on New Year's Eve that year.
Yeah.
Then off the back of that, Saturday night in the Mardi Gras with Craig, which didn't do too well. And then I think we just kind of went our separate ways. I think I think Craig was at Her Majesty's Pleasure for a couple of years as well.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. He's back on the straight and narrow now, though, Craig. I seen him recently at another gig, like, and he's doing well for himself. Yeah, he's doing well for himself. So if you're watching this, Craig, hope you're okay. And then I went for another DJ competition where I had MC Ribs MCing for me, and I called Distortion. And I didn't win that. And I just I think I got a bit disheartened with the music, and that was my first break then, where I sold all my gear, probably one of the ones you've seen on the wall in Goodrich, sold all my gear and took me and me then missus and me kids on holiday, and that was it. Yeah. Didn't DJ for about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And then it was around that time that hard house became a thing. So I had my computer set up in a spare room, and I had this thing called Tractor DJ, which was new back then. You didn't have controllers, you did it all with your keyboard.
Yeah.
And I'd bought like a CD box set of hard house. I think it was the likes of Warp Brothers, We Will Survive and stuff. And I was like, fucking hell, this is fucking heavy music, this. Like, it was, hard house hadn't become a thing. When we were younger, hard house was like Wamdu Project, King of My Castle.
Yeah. And
maybe a bit of club heads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this new sound of hard house, like what we used to call techno, would come out. And I was like, fucking hell, this is all like this. Yeah. So it started getting me interested again. Bought a set of second-hand turntables off someone. Still had me records knocking around the house. And then before you know it, I'm on West End DJ or something, get myself a fucking set of Mark 5G fucking Technics turntables and a fucking mixer.
Yeah.
And then from that, it developed. It was around the same time that CDJs would come out.
Yeah.
So I got myself two CDJ 3000 or 2000 Mark IIIs and a Pioneer DJM 600 mixer. Yeah. And that's when things started to change for me then, because obviously I've always had a little go at scratching and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you're scratching on vinyl, if you get a little bit of fluff on the needle or you do something wrong, the needle jumps. Yeah. You can scratch as fucking fast as you like on CDJs and it ain't going anywhere because it's not a needle, it's all digital. So it opened up a new avenue for me then. I could do more. I could explore more of my creativity when it comes to DJing. Yeah. Obviously, I had this mixer then in front of me, which back when but not so much you, but when I first started DJing, you had two turntables and a mixer. If you were lucky, the mixer had a gain. Sometimes it was just two channels and a crossfader. You didn't even have bass, mid, and treble. You know, you might have a trigger switch that you could use for scratching. You know, the little
Kev Cartwright showed me that. Yeah, he showed me that little trick. Is that where that came from?
Yeah. Before you had like a decent crossfader. I mean, some mixers didn't even have a crossfader. You just had the two channels. You know. So I had this 600 DJM 600 mixer with all these effects on and delay and loop and all that kind of stuff, and it really
up a whole new world.
Yeah, it really did. Made it under my creativity quite a bit.
I think because like when I first, do you remember when I first met you?
Yes, the first time I met you. Yeah. My ex-missus was buying a car off you.
That's right. I didn't even get that.
I didn't even work there then, did I?
Yeah. So and then fast forward a few years when I was just starting to like touch on DJing. You took me out to a couple of competitions.
Did I?
You were on vinyl, and that I was already trying to like have a little go at home. And then when I went to them competitions with you, I was just like, wow, you know what I mean? But I think one thing with you, mate, is you've always been in. I don't know what your style's like now. I'll be honest, I haven't seen you DJ live for a while, but back then you were an entertainer. I mean, I remember seeing a video of you DJing. Might have been in Garland's or somewhere.
Yeah.
And your missus is walking behind you with a sign saying, "This is the man," or something. And you got your top off. Yeah. And then DJ'd at my 30th, did you?
That's right, yeah.
Bar Fresher, and like, just amazing. I've got that on VHS somewhere.
Have you?
Took me all camcorder, yeah.
So when we did your party, that was one of the. I'd give up at that point.
Yeah.
So when I played at your gig, I had
your retirement gig or something, wasn't it? Or
what's that?
Was it like your retirement gig or?
I didn't have decks at the time. I just fucking pretty much winged it. Yeah. I remember being a bit nervous with that. I always like to prepare.
Yeah.
And obviously for that one I couldn't, like, but I remember that was in Bar Fresher, wasn't it?
Yeah. I remember like my sisters and that going like, Dave, who's this? And I was like, that's Viper. You like contact lenses in.
Yeah.
Stop off. You had a Mohican.
Yeah.
And you were just like loads of scratching and all that. Oh, amazing. Boss. Yeah. And you've done all the artwork and everything, didn't you? The artwork was boss like.
You know what? It's a long time ago now. I mean, how old are you now, Dave?
I'm 44, mate.
So 14 years ago. I've slept a bit since then, mate.
Yeah. I'll have to dig it all out for you.
Yeah. Fucking hell, it'd be good to look back on that, like.
Yeah, boss. So, right, questions then. So your fave clubs, as in fave clubs to DJ in?
Obviously the Drome, because I had such a fucking. I've actually got the fucking Drome tattooed on my arm. That's how much I fucking loved it. I mean, you know, it's a part of my fucking life. It was. Yeah. I had some of the best times of my life in the Drome.
Yeah.
It was the first proper club I went to. So playing there was a real thrill. I played at Nation, which was fantastic. That was fucking chocolate. That was for the DJ competition. That right. I think there's clips that on YouTube. And it was fucking.
Your original YouTube channel. Have you still got?
Yeah. So on my YouTube channel, there's the Garland's video you were talking about before. Back in the day when I could take my top off and my fucking tits wouldn't fucking hit the floor. Fucking hell, Garland's, mate. I was like fucking 4 stone fucking lighter. Yeah. What was that? About 17 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's all on YouTube. Yeah. So back to your question. Nation was a good place to play in. I played in Sheffield and Chesterfield. back in the very, very late 90s, might have been 99 or 2000, for Uprising and Revolution.
Yeah.
They were good. They were fucking... I always remember, I've never experienced monitor speakers that loud in my life.
Yeah.
I was literally, my fucking face, my face was wobbling.
Yeah.
It was like pretty hard stuff as well. Like 160 BPM hard trance and like sort of early hard style, if you like. Yeah. Fucking hell, I remember me fucking cheeks doing that. It was fucking loud as fuck. That was quite good.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Yeah, all good times, like.
Awesome, mate. So what became your identity? Like, example, like what I touched on before. What made you sort of, did you focus more on your skill set or being a performer or both?
I think, again, if you go back to like my influences as a kid, like music-wise, I love watching Angus out of AC/DC because he owns the stage. Yeah. He doesn't just stand there and play guitar. He fucking running around. He's fucking on his back and all that. Yeah. I love Freddie Mercury for the same reason. He commands the stage. He doesn't just stand there and sing. You know, he's a performer. Yeah. Comedy-wise, I love Lee Evans. Yeah. You know, who again quite frenetic, running around the stage and sweating and all that.
Like a bastard, yeah.
Yeah. When I was a kid into the wrestling, I liked the Ultimate Warrior. He was fucking on the fucking ropes like that. He'd fucking run into the fucking thing and all that. I think I just like. I prefer when someone looks passionate about what they're doing, and I think that's. Some people might look at me DJ and think, "Oh, look at what he's doing as an act." Mate, if you see me in the fucking cupboard under the stairs, practicing me set on my own, no one's there, I'm fucking like that. Because it's not a show. The music I'm playing, I fucking love.
Yeah, because you see, some DJs look like they're in a maths exam, don't they? Their heads down, they're just like, everything might be spot on, but I'm sure the audio, like if I was a raver, I'd rather hear a mix slightly going out, but having someone own the stage like yourself. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas the guy who's got his head down and it's just like he looks like he's in a GCSE maths exam.
It's a bit like fucking
perfect.
Yeah, it's a bit like sex. If you're having sex with someone and it feels great, but they're just going, it'd put you off, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? You want someone who's like, fucking grabbing your head and all that. It wouldn't matter how good it felt to you. If they're just like...
There's that humour badge you're teaching him.
So I just look at it like, I'm trying to sell this music to people.
Yeah.
And I love this music. That's why I'm playing it. That's why there was such a big gap in my fucking resume, because the music style I like to play, there was nowhere to play it anymore. And I wasn't going to sell out and play stuff that I wasn't passionate about and stand there and be disingenuous. Like, oh, listen to this. Yeah. It's shit. You know what I mean? I'd rather just not play it. So when I'm playing, I've always said this, selfish or not, when I'm DJing, no one's enjoying it more than me, mate. Yeah. No one. Because I've picked all these tunes and I fucking love all these tunes.
And you can tell that. You know what I mean?
It's not an act. I'm like, yes, fucking listen to this, fucking hell.
You're a legend. Am I making this up? Touching on your production, didn't you have like a bits and pieces, like remix a few years? Like it was like, I'm going back now. I remember, I think you came into work and you went, get on that. And
so funnily enough,
it's impressive, but it never got anywhere, did it?
So funnily enough, when this show goes out, I don't know when it'll be, probably the end of June, early July now. Yeah. As we sit here now, what are we, the 10th, 12th?
Something like that, mate. I've been on night.
12th of May.
Yeah.
I've just literally recorded me this week's show for In Demand Radio. Awesome. And the spotlight section is remixes. And funnily enough, I've put in it bits and pieces. So what happened there was, I was involved in an I called Hard Headed. There was myself, Chris Edwards, James Ahmed. I think there was a lad called Mark who kind of fell off before I got there. And we got on board a lad called Ian Knowles. Now, Ian Knowles was a fucking fantastic DJ. Literally, the skill set he had was unbelievable. And he was also a fantastic producer as well. So he said to us one day, just want to make a track? We were like, yeah, fucking right. So I had in my mind, I wanted to make a hard style version of Bits and Pieces. So James went and made one called The Rebel, which is like a bouncy, hard house, bounce donk type track.
Yeah.
Chris Edwards made a hard house track called The Chronic, which was all right. It was good little, both good tracks.
Yeah.
I went in with this mindset, I want to do this remix of Bits and Pieces. So bear in mind, I had no knowledge of music production back then at all. But I went to Ian Knowles' house and we sat in the studio. I think I went 2 or 3 times to do it all together. And I just basically said, I want it to go this, and this. I want this element. He did it all, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can't take much credit for that, other than it was already in my head. He just made it. But Ian Knowles, to his credit, made it from scratch. I seen him sat, he had fucking Rebirth and Cubase and all this kind of stuff. And we made this remix of Bits and Pieces in 2008 it was. And we brought it out on Hard Headed Recordings. And it got to #1 in the Track It Down Hard Dance charts. I think it was 2 weeks on the bounce. It did really well.
Yeah.
So that was yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well remembered.
Yeah. Awesome. I think I played it at a wedding.
Yeah. Don't book him again.
Right, so going back to your earlier years, do you still have any of your old vinyl or any nostalgic items from the 90s?
No vinyl at all.
I remember your Drome bag. Have you still got your Drome bag? I remember that, like, no.
I had a Drome jacket that got stolen in the Drome, believe it or not.
Joking.
I've got, the only memorabilia I've got from back then is I've got some old flyers.
Yeah.
I've got flyers from like the late 90s. But no vinyl. All my vinyl's gone.
Yeah.
I think I've still got, though, the first tape I ever bought. It was a Carl Cox from the Drome, 1993. That's in the loft. I've still got that. But no vinyl, mate. It's all digital.
But it mixes all over the show. Sorry, Carl, if you listened. Yeah. Yeah, and then what's the furthest you've ever travelled to a gig?
Northern Ireland.
Northern Ireland.
So we were in the aquarium. So this is when the aquarium was now the aquarium. Yeah. After the Drome, myself and a lad called Steve Baker, still good friends with Steve now.
Yeah.
I don't know if someone else was involved as well. I think me, Steve, and Mick Powney put a night on called Masters of Bounce. And bear in mind, bounce now is a genre of music. You know, bounce is like what Andy Whitby plays and Ian Redman. But back then, I just played like I was DJ Viper, the bounce master. Before bounce was a thing, probably because I fucking bounced up and down. I don't know. So we had this night called Masters of Bounce, which is just basically hardcore. And I'm DJing here this one night, and this lad comes up the stairs, literally fucking chewing his own eyebrow off. And he's like, and he's waffling on. And I couldn't understand what he was saying. 1, because he was off his barnet. 2, because it was loud. And 3, because he was from Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Anyway, I give him my number, as you do. And a few weeks later, I got this I got a page. Can you contact Sean on this number?
Yeah.
The fuck Sean? So I rang the number back, and this Northern Irish lad, basically, I won't fucking butcher his accent, like, but basically said, I'm putting a night on in Northern Ireland. I want to bring 2 or 3 years over. Yeah. I can't pay you, but I'll put you up for the night and you'll have a good laugh. Well, you know, sort of eat out and all that. And we were like, yeah, fuck it, why not? Yeah. So myself, Mick Powney, DJ Reckless, DJ Rob, who I'm actually on a night with in July, and Edge MC, all went to Northern Ireland and we played there, and it was fucking brilliant, mate.
Was it?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Fucking hell, it was nuts. But yeah, so apart from that, I went to Germany. My mum lived in Germany for a bit. Wasn't quite a gig, like, but I went to Germany one day, and went to the record shop there, and I asked could I have a scratch sample record.
Yeah.
And the fella asked me to come round the counter, probably thinking like I'd make a cunt out of myself. Yeah. And I'm fucking like that scratching, and he's like, "Oh, that's good, yeah." so that not quite a gig, but technically
hang on.
I've DJ'd in Germany as well.
But you've been to Germany and you still haven't ever drank a pint of beer.
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm a brandy drinker. If anyone's listening wants to buy me a bottle of brandy.
What's the furthest you've ever travelled to just go and rave? To go and rave somewhere?
Not that far really. I've been to Ponds and Preston many a time to the Tidy Weekenders.
Yeah, I heard they were good. Like, yeah.
Oh, mate, yeah. Unbelievable.
I think I nearly ended up going to one with you once. I think you were like, come, but I was too scared.
Oh, mate, they were I'm too old for all that now. Like, they still do them now.
Yeah.
But I'm too old for all that. But yeah, we'd go there sometimes on a Thursday. Yeah. And we'd come home on the Sunday. Yeah. Fuck me, mate, they were heavy. But yeah, went to Preston a few times for them. I think I went to about 7 or 8 Tidy Weekenders. Yeah. Been to Manchester, been to Leeds. I've been to like fucking Colville. Where's that? Like the Midlands. That's about as far as I've gone raving. Like that was back in like the Good Grief days and stuff like that.
You've never been into like the Ibiza scene, have you?
No, I've never. Because we didn't touch on it before, like, but I had kids when I was younger, and I've had kids when I'm older. So I've never been like doing like the boys' holiday and all that kind of stuff.
Did you get the snip and then have it reversed?
I got the snip when I was 29. I got it reversed when I was
like, who does that? Jay Viper
38. And so there's a true story. I've only ever had 3 operations in my whole life, and they've all been on my bollocks. The snip reverse and the snip again.
That's the same as buying 1210s, selling 1210s, buying 1210s. That's the same.
The Couture 303 podcast is now officially sponsored by Dapper Turkish Barbers in Hunts Cross. You can find them on Woodend Avenue, and they do the full service there. The hair, the beard, the ears, the nose, the cutthroat, hot towels, the lot. It's the only barbers I ever go to. Fantastic service, great lads. No need to book, just pop in and see them 7 days a week. If you want a nice sick fade like mine, you will not be disappointed. The absolute best in the area. That's Dapper Turkish Barbers, Woodend Avenue, Hunts Cross. And now back to the show.
Yeah. One of my best gigs I came to see you at was Magnet. Remember the Magnet? Was it like up by the bombed out church somewhere?
Yes.
Yeah, you done a couple there, didn't you?
Yeah, so we did a few hard-headed ones there. And I think we had my birthday there.
Right.
I think, if memory serves me correctly, my birthday was the last one we did, and it was a charity night. I don't know what charity it was for.
Yeah.
We got MC Cyanide to come down. MC Cyanide MC'd for me that night. I played twice.
Yeah. I think that was the one I went to then.
So if memory serves me correctly, I played like an electro set at the start, and then like a bouncy techno set later on.
That's the one. Yeah.
Good times.
They were good times, mate. Yeah. You just touched on charity there. You got into like 10Ks and that, didn't you? Didn't you have like a bit of a spell where you were like running?
I've ran quite a bit on and off over the years. Yeah. And I've done I've done a few 10Ks. I've done a couple of half marathons. Yeah. And I was training for a full marathon about 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah. And fucking blew my knee out. And my knee's never been the same since. Yeah. Since then, I've done a half marathon, which I didn't really train for, and was fucking really struggled with that. It's the first time I've ever done a run, and when I finished it, there was like fucking red streams. My fucking nipples have been fucking rubbing on my t-shirt, and they bled. So I get to the end, I'm like, yeah, you're finished. And my mate went, what the fuck's that?
Oh my God.
Like Pennywise. The fucking, heavy that. I started running again last year. Yeah. Obviously getting old now, so I should stretch really, but I didn't stretch, and my fucking my calf popped. I felt actual pop in my calf. Yeah. That was like September last year. Didn't run again for a while. Started running again recently, and I felt this twinge in my calf coming again. Yeah. And then about a week ago, walking out there, bang, popped again. Fucking hell, went over like that. So I was maybe just getting too old for running. But yeah, I still enjoy running.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm probably a bit too fucking heavy now as well. Probably about 17 stone now, and my fucking knees aren't what they used to be. So, yeah, but I'll still continue to try.
Yeah. You touched on before, like, where you are like the most random guy I've ever met, where you've got different hobbies. I remember you getting into your tattoo journey.
Yes.
So, you want to just touch on that? Because you're actually tattooing people, I was very concerned about that hobby. You know what I mean? I think you even tattooed Matty.
That's
Matty
right, yeah. Well, I'm probably the only person I know who's tattooed their mum, and their kids have tattooed me. So my oldest 3 kids on Father's Day, going back about 10 years ago now. Well, it must be 10 years ago because I didn't have the 2 little ones. And I said, it's Father's Day, so do you want to tattoo me? So they both, you can't see, it's on my leg down here, like they both did a little stencil. JL for Jordan and Nick did the name on my thigh. So I just, again, I thought I'm going to have a little go with tattooing. You know, I like drawing.
Yeah.
So I get all the gear, watched a few videos and stuff. And my ex at the time was like, hang on a minute. She's like, you think you're just going to get this fucking stuff and be tattooing people in a couple of months' time? I went, no, I'll be tattooing people in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
Don't talk fucking stupid. Anyway, her nephew said, I'll have a tattoo. I think he was 19. I'll have a tattoo. So we did this fucking skull and crossbones thing on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And it was all right. You know, the first go, like...
do you think it tied into you saying you were good at art in school? Did it all sort of come from that?
Well, to be a tattoo artist, I mean, I was never a good tattoo artist. A good tattoo artist, like me mate Mick Phillips. Mick Phillips. So when we were younger, when we were kids, there was a few of us used to like drawing. There was myself, Mick Phillips, and Eddie Turner. Mick Phillips and Eddie Turner have both done. I don't know if Eddie Turner's done tattooing on people yet, but he's done it on the fake skin. Yeah. And Mick Phillips has actually become a tattoo artist. That's his job now. Yeah. He's a phenomenal tattoo artist. Really, really good. The tattoos I were doing were just basic names and flowers and fucking, you know, LFC badges and stuff like that. You know, liver birds. I wasn't doing intricate stuff like just basic stuff. To do basic stuff, you just need a steady hand, really, and obviously know the techniques of how to do it. I was never a great tattoo artist, but I made a few quid out of it. Yeah, it's something I did, and it was an experience, if you like.
And you went from that to doing birds' nails.
Yeah. So again, this is when I was with my ex. Now we decided we were going to buy a sunbed shop.
Yeah.
And I was going to do the nails, and it was going to be called finger nails. That was going to be the little the thing. But again, that's something I thought, I'll do nails. Yeah. And remember Peter Scotland?
Yeah.
I went round and did Peter Scotland's wife's nails in his house.
My God.
As a bit of
that's bizarre.
Again, I thought, I'll have a go at this. And I could do them. But I was too slow. Yeah. So whereas you go to the Chinese now and you fucking get in, they're in out in 20 minutes and they've got this fantastic set of fucking lovely nails. It was taking me like an hour and a half, and they were all right. You know what I mean? They were passable, like. Yeah. But that was one of my little hobbies. Yeah.
It's a bit of a dark subject to touch on, but when we all got made redundant, how did that affect you mentally, your DJ and your family life? I know you were one of the fortunate ones who went from one job to the next, but like it must have still because it was such a great place to work. Yeah. Did it affect you at all? So
I remember the day we found out. I was actually riding to work on my bike that day, and we found out. And I remember riding on my bike and I was crying. You know, as a grown man, because what am I going to do? Where am I going to get this kind of money? You know, on my doorstep. Yeah. Ever again? You know, I was fortunate to work there. It was okay money for what it was. You know, and at the time, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah. Remember riding on my bike. I just moved in with my ex, No, sorry, I just moved in with my missus. I split up with my ex, just moved in with my missus room with now.
Yeah.
I remember getting home and she was in work, and I remember sat in her apartment crying, thinking, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to, you know, and the knee-jerk reaction was to get a trade, because I had nothing.
Yeah.
I left school with no qualifications, was lucky enough to get a start in was it UTC at that point? But when we started, it was TRW, then it became Goodrich, whatever it was. People know it was Lucas Aerospace, don't they?
Yeah.
Was lucky enough to get a start in Lucas Aerospace, and was there for, I think I was there for 13 or 14 years.
Yeah.
And obviously got told we got made redundant. And I was like, I'm mentally quite a strong person, and not much rattles me or worries me.
Yeah.
But something of that magnitude is like, fucking hell, you know.
Yeah.
What am I going to do here? So my knee-jerk reaction was to get a trade, and I started doing a course to be an electrician.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot all about this.
Yeah. In the meantime, me missus's dad, Phil, said to me, listen, because he worked in Jag, he said, listen, I can get you a form for our place. He said, but it's not like the old days where I can, you know, put a word in for you. It's not like that anymore. I can get you a form and that's it. Basically, I can't do nothing else for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, got the fucking start. It was mad how it turned out, because our Madison had just been born. She's 9 now. And I had all of our Madison in my arm. And I got this email through to say, you got an online application thing. So I'm sat there with this little, like, 10-inch fucking netbook laptop type thing on my knee with a fucking newborn baby. Unbeknownst to me, it was an actual a test. I'm like, shit. You know, I didn't have a mouse, so I'm using a tracker pad. It was all timed and all that.
Yeah.
And long story short, I failed the test.
Yeah.
So I did the test, and I thought, and I gets the email the next day. Unfortunately, you're not going to go forward. And I was in Goodrich at the time, and I think we were on some kind of a course upstairs. I think it was like you did like a pensions course or something like, we did a course there. They were doing stuff, weren't they, to send us on our way about how to fill in application forms. Anyway, I was on this course, and I phoned up Manpower, the agency, and I said, listen, I've just got an email to say I've failed the test. And he went, yeah, sorry, mate. I went, listen, I said, I don't accept it. I said, you've got to give me another chance. I said to him, I said, listen, I said, I've got a newborn baby. I had it in my arms doing this. I didn't know it was going to be a test. I said, I had this little fucking netbook with no mouse. 10-inch fucking keyboard and all that with a baby. I said, I wasn't prepared. I said, I said, please give me. And he went, we don't give a second chance. I said, mate, I said, how far did I fail? He went, well, there was 3 parts to the test. He said, you passed 2 of them. There's only one of them you failed on. And I went, mate, please give me another chance. I said, I know I can pass that test. I know I can. I said, you don't understand this. I'm getting made redundant and I need this. I really, really need it. I said, I'd get on my knees and beg if I had to. And he went, I always remember the little glimmer of hope. He went, well, if we give you another chance, you'd have to get all 3 parts right. I went, mate, I said, give me another chance. If I fail, end of.
Yeah.
Anyway, give me another chance. Next time, phone off, curtains shut, fucking, you know, laptop.
You're having a wank.
Laptop, fucking mouse. Fucking, I'm ready there. You know, fucking, like, go. And I fucking did the test, and I passed it with flying colours.
Boss.
And,
I didn't know any of this, mate. This is mad.
Yeah, I nearly didn't get in, mate, But I was very, very, very fortunate to walk from a fantastic job into another fantastic job. So I wasn't unemployed. So to answer your question, my mental health didn't suffer because I was too focused on
survival mode.
Yeah, basically, I didn't have chance to worry really. And the DJ at the time, I wasn't DJ at the time at all, so that didn't figure.
So we've touched on Old Skool Viper. Let's go into Old Skool Viper now. So, like, when was the relaunch of Viper?
Lockdown, basically. So lockdown came and went, and as I touched on before, during lockdown, let me just look at the time there. During lockdown, before lockdown, I'd gone through a period of, I'd get myself a set of decks.
Yeah.
they'd sit under the couch for 6 months. I'd sell them.
Yeah.
As soon as I sold them, I'd want new ones.
Yeah.
I'd get new ones. I'd play with them twice. They'd go behind the couch. They'd sit there for 6 months. I'd sell them. There was a pattern. I kept doing it. I said to Andy Tranter, if you see the amount of stuff I've had over the years, it's mind-blowing. I must have had every bit of kit over the 10-year period. Decks, controllers, ones you put your fucking tablet in, all different ones. And then I got a Pioneer XDJ RX2, which is the all-in-one unit, the big one.
Yeah.
And I had that, and I hardly used it. And I always remember I sold it. And I sold it in the February. And the March, we went into lockdown. And I was like, bastard. I've got all this time on my hands now and no decks.
Yeah.
So I went to Argos and bought a fucking DDJ 400 controller.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've never got so much use out of something so fucking small all my life. No jokes there, by the way.
You were bad.
Yeah. Filthy mind. I bought this little tiny controller.
Yeah.
And I think I've recorded 2 mixes in the space of about 2 weeks, which I've never done.
Yeah.
You know, I record a mix and then 5 years later record another mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done 2 in the space of a few weeks, which got me thinking then. And then a lad called John Edge, who runs or helps run a night called Back to the Dock, said to me, do you want to jump on with us?
Yeah.
And I went, nah, I'm not, I'm done with all that.
Yeah.
Come home, and my missus was like, fucking do it. You know, just do it. And if you fucking shit, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So I went, I don't know, you know. Anyway, got back into DJing again. Played Back to the Dock's 4th anniversary party. Loved it. Feedback was great. Still have the arse spring in my step. Bit fucking older and heavier than I used to be, like, you know.
Half injury.
Limping around with my fucking Zimmer frame behind the decks. Loved it. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then off the back of that, I decided to so you know about mixed martial arts, and you know the brand Tap Out was synonymous with mixed martial arts.
Did you get that tattooed on you at one point?
I've got it there.
Yeah.
The fucking thing there.
Tap Out.
You see it?
I can just see it there. Yeah.
And yeah, that's the first tattoo we ever did, by the way. That anarchy sign. First tattoo in human skin. So I wanted to make something, come up with a brand that summed up the dance music industry. Yeah. So I came up with this thing of Couture 303. Obviously, the 303, the Roland 303 is a machine that's at the backbone of nearly all dance music. Yeah. And I came up with this brand, Couture 303. Started doing t-shirts. T-shirts went well. It kind of got too big too quick. I had the likes of fucking Stu Allen and DJ Vibes and Demand, as well as friends of mine like Steve McGee and DJ City G and other friends wearing t-shirts and caps with this logo on. Yeah. And it almost got too big too quick for me when I couldn't keep up. But then off the back of that, the lad who runs Back to the Dock, Lee Hall, I said to him, do you want me to interview you? And I'll put it on my website. And it's a bit of promo for you, bit of promo for me. Yeah. And he went, yes, sound. So I went to his house and I had this little handheld recorder. It was a little bit of shit it was. And put it on his table. And we did this first interview. Through no fault of Lee's, it was shite because of me. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. I was dead wooden. I had fixed questions on my phone and it was dead robotic. And I went back and listened back to it. I was like, I can do better than that. As I always do, I can do better than that. So I reached out to MC Cyanide and said, would you do an interview? And he went, yeah. So I did an interview with MC Cyanide, which went a lot better. I was a bit more prepared. Yeah. Back to me mate Mick Phillips, who does the tattoos, Killer Bee Tattoo Studios in Bootle, by the way. And he said to me, how's your podcast going? I said, I haven't got a podcast. He said, you have? I went, I haven't. He went, you know when you interview someone and put it online, that's a podcast. Yeah. And I went, you've got a point there. Yeah. So episode 3, which was Rob Kane, was the first one that was actually a podcast. And obviously, that's how that came about. And
I had to play that one at a slower speed. I had to alter the pitch a bit on that one.
Yeah.
It was just like
100 miles an hour, isn't he?
fucking mad, isn't he? He's mad.
So that's how Couture 303 came about. And then the t-shirts went on the side. I've still got the t-shirts. I still do the t-shirts myself for my own personal use.
And you sent me one, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Go right across.
I haven't got the time or the facilities to do it as a business anymore.
Yeah.
But then the podcast started picking up. I started getting, bigger names.
Yeah.
Your Mark Simons, your Les Calverts, DJ Vibes.
Yeah.
Moved on to like Robbie Edwards and, Rosala. And obviously in January, I've been trying to get hold of Steve Cocky for quite a while. Steve Cocky, as you know, runs In Demand Radio and also helps run Reminisce Festival.
Yeah.
And I said to Jenny, if I don't, or did I? I don't know whether I said it or not, but in my mind's eye, I thought, if I can portray myself well to Steve Cocky, something good will come of it.
Yeah.
He might turn around and say, listen, I can get you more guests there for your podcast. I'm in touch with fucking everyone, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll get them on for you. So I went I was trying to get all the Steve Cocky from about August, and he'd said yeah, and obviously he's a very, very busy man.
Yeah.
And it fell by the wayside, and I kept on his case because I wanted to get him on. And January or December, he was like, listen, he voice messaged me, first time I ever heard his voice. And he's like, I'm sorry, mate, I've been up the wall and all that, but I'll do your podcast. How about you come down to In Demand Studios and do it here? I was like, fucking hell, get to go to the fucking radio studio here, all made up and all that.
Yeah.
I went, yeah, fucking right, I'll have a bit of that. So I went down to In Demand Studios, did the podcast on I think it was I'm going to say it was the Wednesday. The Saturday morning, he rang me to discuss the logistics, because obviously we'd recorded the podcast in Demand. He had to send it to me.
Yeah.
He had edited all the sound quality and all up and sent me the file ready to go. And he said, I've got a bit of a proposition for you. I said, go on. Thinking he was going to say, listen, if you want to get the likes of Rosala on, I can give you a little back door there. Yeah. And he went, have you ever considered doing a radio show? Fucking hell, no. Just completely out of left field. I went, no, I'll be honest, I haven't. I said, but what are you thinking? Yeah. He said, we've got a guy there. He said, he does the Old Skool show now. He said, he's a fantastic guy. He said, but he's got a bit of a Lancashire accent. We want more like a local sounding DJ.
Yeah.
I've spoken to you on the podcast. You sound local, but you don't sound scally.
Yeah.
Would you consider doing an Old Skool show?
Yeah.
I went, let me think about it. Put the phone down. Bing. The fucking mindset kicks in then. I've got to do this. I became obsessed. I pestered the poor fucking fella. I was fucking phoning him up. And at one point, he rang me and he went, why'd you keep phoning me, you fucking stalker? Proper cased him. And then he said to me, we'll start the show. Yeah. And then Absolute Old Skool with Jay Viper on In Demand Radio. I've just recorded my 4th episode there.
I'm a little bit behind. I listened to my first one the other night, only because I've been on training with Matty Burgess.
You still see Matty, yeah?
Yeah. So I haven't been able to listen to any of the night. I used to listen to all the In Demand shows and, my earphones. But I've been on training for 4 months, and I've just finished the training. So I'm solo now. So I was able to listen to your show the other night, Boss,
well, I've just recorded the 4th show now, and I actually give you a mention of saying, Dave's listening live now in work. So when on Wednesday when you're in work, you'll think back to this moment.
Yeah. I got onto that because when I listened to it the other night, he was saying like, "Here's a shout out for someone like last week and all that." I went, "Oh, I get it now. I get how it works."
Yeah. Obviously, it's 2 till 4 in the morning, so I can't do it live. But if anyone's watching this and likes their Old Skool, Absolute Old Skool with me, Jay Viper, every Wednesday morning, 2 till 4 on In Demand Radio. You can catch it on the In Demand Radio app or on indemandradio.com.
Boom. Mate, honestly, the structure of that show, considered it was only your 3rd one I listened to. Yeah. Structure's on point, mate. It's amazing.
I'll be honest, like I've got a mate there, Steve Ling, and my other mate, Neil Walsh, and they both said the same thing. They both said, you're a natural.
Yeah.
I'm not. If you're in that cupboard with me when I'm recording the voiceovers and I'm shouting at myself, no, you fucking knobhead, and I'm fucking talking to myself, fluffing me words and all that.
Yeah.
The product might end up being good, but I'm not a natural. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
I'm as with anything, you learn as you go.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not a natural. I mean, the first time I did it, like a demo, and I sent it to Steve Cocky. And I thought, fucking, that's sound that.
Yeah.
And he rang me up and he went, listen back to your first link, right? He said, imagine me and you were sat in a pub and you spoke to me like that. What would I do? Hey, next we got this one. And all that. He went, that's not how people talk.
Yeah.
He went, go away. He said, I'll redo it like you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Forget you're on the radio.
Yeah.
Forget you're talking to potentially thousands of people.
Yeah.
You're talking to one person. You're talking to that one person who sat in the car or walking the dog or in the gym or fucking on the bog in work or fucking whatever. You're talking to one person. He went,
on the bog.
yeah.
Knock, you're right, mate.
Yeah. Shouts out to Dave, banging one out in work there. Don't forget to wipe your ass. I'll be back after this one. So it's so hard because for the longest time we're used to hearing radio DJs, and radio DJs talk a certain way and they go up and down like that. And he was like, "No, forget all that.
Yeah,
forget that.
Got to be raw with it in demand, Danny."
And it was harder than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
because even the first one I did, he went,
Yeah,
it was my mate in work actually, Dave Ladlow.
Yeah.
He went, you're still a little bit up and down there, You're still a little bit. This one's coming up.
Yeah.
He went, you wouldn't say that to me. If you were talking to me, you'd say, get on this tune. It's brilliant. The only thing I've got to be careful of now is not swearing. Obviously, the podcast and stuff.
Yeah.
You fucking swear all you like. This is radio.
Yeah.
I've been told in no uncertain terms, you can't swear. You probably allow maybe one slip up once, and then that's it. You're gone.
That's it.
So
I think it's sad. It's sad what's happened. But I think Stu Allen. If you listen to his shows, they're great at you can get something from it, whether it's how he's presenting or the flow of his music or how he's structured his shows. I know he's not a Scouse guy, but I had a brief spell on internet radio, and I tried to structure it on what he was doing. He was a big influence. So one of the last things I just want to ask you is work, family, DJing, Couture 303, in demand, balance is the word I want to use. How are you balancing it all?
My missus will tell you that I'm not. I am trying. So what I'll do now is when I first found out I was getting this radio show, it was me prime focus. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't doing anything to do with podcasts. I wasn't doing any housework, if I'm honest. And it was causing issues at home. I had to sit down with my missus and she was like, listen, I understand this is a big opportunity, but you've still got a fucking life here. You've still got an house and kids and all that. Yeah. So I had to readjust the balance. So what I'll do now is, I'll say to my missus, do me a list. So if I'm on late, I'm not in work till 2:00.
Yeah.
I've got my list there. And it might be just throw a wash on, do the dishes, hoover the whole stairs and land or whatever. Yeah. I'll do my list first. I'll get that out the way first before I get on my laptop and do what I need to do. Yeah. Podcasts, obviously, I'm trying to stay ahead of myself with podcasts if I can. I've got currently 2 recorded. One comes out on Wednesday, which by the time this comes out, it'll all be out. DJ X-Ray. 2 weeks after that, Andy Tranter. And then I've done one with a lad called DJ MC Energy, which I did about 6 weeks ago, and I'm still waiting for the video footage to come. So I can't get that on the way yet. So this one might come out after Andy Tranter. I don't know when this one's going to come out now. So the podcast, I try and keep myself ahead if I can. And I've got guests lined up as well. I've got some big guests lined up as well. We can't really announce them yet until it's been. I don't like to announce them until I've actually recorded it.
Yeah.
So I've got some good guests coming up as well. And then obviously the radio show is every week.
Yeah.
Pre-recorded, obviously, because it's 2 till 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
The problem I've got is the end of the month, I go to Turkey for the week.
Wow.
So that week I've got to do 2 shows, and I've got to the show's got to be ready. So when I come back from my holiday, I've just got to upload it to the system.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a tough one.
How do you get around if there's a tune you want to play, but it's like a vinyl rip, you hear the crackling, it's not, and you like, is there a way? Yeah.
So there's tunes out there as well that I'd like to play, but they've got swear words in.
Yeah.
And I can edit them out.
Yeah.
To some extent. Yeah. But if it's excessive or it sounds shit, I just won't bother. Yeah. So I mean, being an old school show, a lot of my stuff comes from vinyl.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's been ripped onto CDJ or to MP3 now.
Yeah.
But if it's overly crackly, I won't play it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, people tune into the radio to hear radio quality music.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear a fucking fucking crackly. Yeah. So I'm trying my best to juggle things.
Yeah.
And I'm getting faster now with doing the radio show as well. So that's not too bad. Yeah. If I feel like the podcasts are becoming too much of a hindrance, then the podcasts will probably come down to once a month as opposed to every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And obviously I can still try and get ahead of myself by getting 1 or 2 or 3 in the bag. Yeah. Because like the podcast that comes out on Wednesday, I'll upload that today and that'll get released on Wednesday.
Yeah.
That's DJ X-Ray from Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
So I'm trying. It's hard. Like it's my little girl Madison keeps saying, "Are you famous yet, Dad?" I know. when you are, will I be famous? Well, I don't know. I don't know whether I'll be famous yet. So I don't know.
So mate, well, so touching on then, you've touched on all my questions to be honest, but
I'll go pick the kids up from school in 20 minutes. So how long have you got
left? what is next, mate? Like in terms of live gigs, you've touched on like your radio career and all the rest of it, but live gigs, actually going somewhere and DJing live, what's next?
The only gig I've got at the moment that's fully confirmed is the 1st of July in District for Old Skool Takeover.
Yeah. And
how that came about was I went to Old Skool Takeover to promote the podcast.
Yeah.
And the lads who run it, there's Lee Downey, Kendo, and X-Ray from Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
And I went down there and I spent most of the night. I went with my mates to enjoy the night, but I ended up working most of it because I was promoting the podcast, giving flyers out and stuff.
Yeah.
So I spent most of my night by the front door, predominantly talking to Lee Downey.
Yeah.
And he's a fucking cracking lad. Just got on with him straight away. I've met all manner of people over the years in the industry. And you do meet some arseholes. You meet some people who are, they fall out with everyone. And you meet some lads who are just fucking so down to earth and salt of the earth. Lee Downey and Kendo were definitely in the latter category. Just got on with them sound.
Awesome.
And Lee said to me, he went, I've seen your stuff. He went, we want to get you on. He said, the problem we've got is you play quite hard. He said, we'd need to kind of integrate it into the system a bit more. So would you be willing to do a warm-up set? I said, fucking yeah, why not? I'm up for the challenge. I haven't played a warm-up set since about 1997, but why not? So that's where we're up to now. They've booked me to play. The lineup is Chill FM, M-Zone, DJ Rob, who came to Northern Ireland with me back in the 90s.
Oh, way.
MC Cyanide, myself, and then you've got Kendo, Lee Downey, and X-Ray, who are the residents. Yeah. And that's the 1st of July in District. Tickets available on Skiddle. I'll put the link in the description below. That's the only one I've got lined up at the moment.
Yeah.
I have been told about another gig, but I don't know if I can say it. I can't say anything yet. I can't say nothing yet. It hasn't been confirmed.
Feminist Festival, isn't it?
Next question.
Right. So I'm probably not going to do these quick fire questions any justice.
Go ahead.
You want to have a delay because yours are just on fire. Do you want to have a delay because you've got to do them gunshots, haven't you?
No. It's that's all. Oh. So when I first started doing the podcast, there was a bit of a mystique joining me in studio today. Now people just know it's my kitchen. The mystique's gone now. There is no studio. It's my kitchen.
Right, so quick fire questions then, yeah?
Go ahead, mate. Why not?
Okay. Boxing or UFC?
UFC.
Cyanide or Lively?
Cyanide. Sorry, Lee.
Ice lolly or lolly ice?
Lolly ice. Ice lolly's what we'll say.
Dogs or cats?
Oh, dogs.
Yeah. Okay. Hard trance or hard rock?
Oh, fucking hell. I'd probably say hard trance because hard trance gives me more of a feeling of like euphoria. I love me hard rock, but it wouldn't move me to tears. Whereas some hard trance could probably.
Yeah. Family movie or a big rave with the lads?
I'd probably go for the family movie now, if I'm honest.
Yeah, sound, mate, sound. And last, a glass of water or a pint of beer?
100% a glass of water, mate.
Yeah, so as I say, they don't live up to yours. I was going to go into like Twix or Drifter. I don't even know where you can get a Drifter anymore, can you?
Them drifters, they were fucking sound, weren't they?
I used to dip mine in tea and then like suck it through and all that.
As you can see, I do love me a chocolate bar.
But now, I can't do your quick fires just you're like A-Team or Night Rider and they're just fucking, you know what I mean?
I have my tablet there off screen and I have them all lined up.
But as I say, I haven't listened to all the podcasts, but I'm catching up. I think the last one I listened to was UHF, is it? DJ?
The UHF, cracking lad, lad, Lee.
Yeah, that was a good one, mate. And obviously Rosala, you know, the big, one of the biggest
madness,
names.
Absolute madness. Sat here where I am now in my kitchen talking to a pop star. You know, I never thought
she came across just like she was the girl from next door. You know, it's just bizarre.
You know what, mate? It's mind blowing. You think of famous people, and you think they're all going to be like standoffish and up their own arse. I had back and forth with Rosala before the podcast on WhatsApp. Some of the voice messages I got off her, mate, honest to God, she had me in fucking stitches. Absolute diamond of a lady here. And I can't wait. So I'm going to Reminisce Festival this year. We got early bird tickets. And I'm hoping to actually meet Rosala there. Me and Jenny going like, I'm hoping to meet her. I'm hoping to get backstage because obviously with In Demand and stuff, you know, fucking, I know a guy now, don't I? Do you know what I mean?
I've been in hospitality. It's weird you're there and you've got like the Venga boys there. You know what I mean?
Shut up.
You've got like 5 there.
Oh my God.
It's just bizarre, mate. You're just like that with your beer and you're going like, oh my God.
I won't drink. I won't drink that day because I want to enjoy it and take it all in for it. It finishes quite early, doesn't it? Finishes 12 or something.
Around, I think Lee normally finishes around 11, quarter to 11, something like that.
So I'll probably fucking have a bevy when we get home that night. I mean, I might have one later on maybe because we've got a lift there. But I'm looking forward to it, mate. Looking forward to Reminisce, really am.
I've been to everyone. I've been quite cool. I've been to everyone.
My first one, mate. First one.
Yeah, boss, mate.
Can't wait.
Right, well, we've got to do the school run, lad.
Mate, you know what? It's been different for me doing this. It's been an experience. And I want to thank, as I always do, I want to thank you for doing it, mate. I wouldn't have thought of doing this. I've actually been approached by a guy called Brad Refresh. He wants to do a podcast with me. I'm assuming it'll be of a similar nature. But you got in first, and I thought, fuck it, why not? I've known Dave for fucking years. We've got a bit of a history there with work, and obviously with the DJing side of things as well. And it's nice that we've kept in touch after all these years. So
mate.
Thanks for the opportunity.
No worries. Thank you. It's there was some stuff I knew and some stuff I didn't know. So
that's the whole thing of doing a podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, guys. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks to Dave for hosting the podcast today. I'll have to do the artwork now. Jenko featured in DJ Viper. Be a different one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I don't know what's next. I don't know where they're going to come to next. Thanks again to Dave for doing the interview. And take care, everyone. Thank you.